Hello, everyone. Today we are going to be looking at the different maps you'll be using throughout the rest of the course. We'll go over each map, what to look at, what's important, and how to complete your assignments using these maps. So, the first thing you'll notice at the top of each page, you will see the title of that map. This is a political map. And if you look at the top left of this map, you will see the key on how to read. So a plain dot with a name is just a city. So for example, we have San Jose. And then we have a dot with a circle around it. That would be actually, it's not a dot, it's a star. That will be the capital. So here on the map, we see two capitals, Ottawa and Washington, D.C. Down at the bottom left, you will see a scale. So if you took a ruler and used that ruler to measure the distance between Los Angeles and Phoenix, you should be able to get a general idea of how far they are from each other. This is usually about 1 inch, and the half inch being 400, the full inch being 800, and then underneath it you have centimeters in kilometers. So the political map will show you the names of the country. It'll show you some important geographical features. So you see Pacific Ocean, you can see the Great Bear Lake in Canada, Baffin Bay, you can see the Mississippi River, and then you'll also notice that the countries are differentiated by the color. This map is usually one of the easier ones to read. So we'll move on to the next, which is the physical map. So a physical map will tell you about how the country is laid out. On the key, you will see elevation. This is how far from sea level is it. So you'll see it'll start at below sea level with purple, and then it'll go up to green, blue, yellow, orange, light red, almost pinkish, and then a dark red. And you'll see that the elevation increases 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, and 10,000. So you see it's doubling every time we go up. So if we look at this map and we look at the Rocky Mountains, as expected, being mountains, it will be a lot of red, a little bit of orange. And then if we look down here in the coast, you'll see it's a lot of green. You have the Appalachian Mountains, which is mostly yellow and orange. And in this part of the world, I don't believe we have many of purples. I believe Death Valley is one of the purples, but because it's such a small area, you won't see it on the map. But this is how you would read it. What you'll notice is the states are not differentiated, but you will see more of what the areas are called. So you have the Yukon Plateau, the Columbia Plateau, the Great Basin, the Cascade Range, the Coastal Range, the Coastal Plains. So it kind of tells you about how those countries are laid out. Now we go on to the next map, which is a vegetation map. So a vegetation map and the next map that comes after this go hand in hand. So it kind of tells you what kind of plants you will find in these areas. If you look here, you'll see the vegetation roughly corresponds to the biomes that we looked at before when you did your vocabulary. You have tropical forest, temperate forest, taiga, tropical grassland, temperate grassland, tundra, Mediterranean, desert, and ice-covered Then if we look at the next map, you have the biome map. So what you'll see is the biome map and the vegetation map should overlap quite a bit. You see, there's a few differences, but that's because the biome map is just a little bit more detailed. Sorry about that. I'm not sure why that turned off. So you'll see the separate types of biomes or climates. The vegetation is more based on the biomes we learned. This one is a more detailed biome, which is based off the Köppen biome system, which there are, I believe, 32 different types of climates. So this will help you with those biome questions. The next map is our economic map. So the economic map is separated into two spots. We have land use and resources. So you'll see the colors for commercial farming, commercial fishing, forestry, hunting, gathering, little to no activity. So you can see we do have some little to no activity. Livestock raising, nomadic herding, trade, and subsistence farming. Then we got the resources. So countries have different kinds of resources. These are the resources we can find in the United States and Canada: coal, hydroelectric power, iron, natural gas, petroleum, precious metals, and uranium. The next map is our ethno-linguistic map. So when we look at United States and Canada, it's gonna look pretty similar to what Europe looks like. So you can see we have African American, Amerindian, Asian, European, French, and Hispanic. So Asian is down here in Hawaii because the Hawaiian people are Polynesian, which is an Asian group. You can see most of Canada and the United States is European. We got some Hispanic down in the historic regions of Mexico and down here in the lower regions of Florida. You can see there are pockets of African American where African American people outnumber white Americans. You can see little dots of green. So here we got some mostly reservations being marked on this map. Up here, you see two colors. You see Amerindian and what looks like European mixed. So this is the location of the Aleutian and Inuit ethnic groups. There are also some white people living up here as well, not so much as the Amerindians. You can also notice that in the African American and Latino section is also hashed. And then over here above New York, we have a blue French one because this is the historic lands of the Quebecois, the French Canadian people. Moving on to the next map, we have the religion map. So as you can see in the key, there's only two religions, and they're both Christian. One is Catholic, one is Protestant. And that will just tell you what the majority of these people are. So you can see we have Catholic, lots of Catholics in the Northeast, by Chicago, and then in historic Mexican areas, California and the West Coast. And then the rest are Protestant. You can see this whole area of Canada is Catholic. That's because that's the French province of Quebec. And our final map is the population density map. So again, we look at the key. We see we start with under 2.5 people per square mile. That means there's very few people in that area. Then we go up to 2.5 to 12.5, 12.5 to 62.5, 62.5 to 250, 250 to 1,250, 1,250 to 2,500, and over 25,000. So if you to find where these most populated cities are, look at the names of the cities. You will find that where we are in this map is right here where the brown and the orange go up along this river. Meriden is in this area. We are in the New York metropolitan area. But you can see most of the United States live on the East Coast, in the larger area of the East Coast. And then on the West Coast, it's mostly right at the coastline. And if you look at Canada, you can see most people live pretty much from the lake, and you just go straight over to Quebec. Everyone lives below there. So that was a quick rundown on the maps we'll be using throughout the rest of this semester. There's no notes that go with this. So don't worry too much about that. I will see you next video.